Rob and I would just get there in the morning and he'd be like, okay, how you want to kill somebody today? And then we just work it out and figure out the best way and the safest way to do it. And we came up with some amazing stuff.
Ghouls and gremlins, welcome to another exciting installment of Jackman Interviews. I'm, of course, as always, your humble host, Josh, aka Jackman. My guest today has struck fear and horror into the minds and hearts of many by taking on the iconic role of Michael Myers in Rob Zombie's Halloween films. In addition to Sabertooth in the X-Men 2000 film, Ajax and Troy, Black Star and Jupiter's Legacy, Terminix and Doom Patrol, and so many more. He's had an incredible run in the industry and is still going strong. Please help me welcome kick-ass actor, writer, and man taller than God himself, Tyler Mane.
Yes, man, this is my first one like this, so give me a break. I'm old.
You're good, sir. Thank you so much. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little jet lagged and tired, but I'm flying all over the place. I was in Los Angeles until Wednesday. Now I'm in Tampa, and I'm just everywhere trying to get the word out about this graphic novel, man.
Oh man, and I can't wait to talk about that incredible story that you're crafting today. Thank you so much. Before I get into the interviews and the meat and potatoes, thank you so much for joining me today. This has been such a long time coming. You know, I've been wanting to speak to you for such a long time. It's a funny story. You know, I've been trying to get you on for so long that when your publicist had reached out to me, it said Tyler Mane, and I was like, and I hate to admit this, I was like, who is this? I don't remember. I was like, the name sounds familiar, but who is this? And then I look and I was like, no way. And my jaw dropped and I was like, I have to get this started. I was like, I followed you. So I was like, I don't know why I didn't remember, but just so glad to have you on, and I hope to make a great experience for you today, sir. Thank you so much again.
Well, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, as a huge music fan that I am, if you couldn't tell, what I usually like to do is talk about some pretty cool album anniversaries. But with you, while I was researching some roles you did, I found out that you were in a Slayer music video.
Yes, that's true. Yes, I was.
How did that work out? Like, how did you get to work with them? What was it like meeting them? Did you get to actually meet the guys?
You know, I'd met them, a few of them. I can't remember which ones I met, but I met a few of them, but they weren't at that shoot. So it was a total different thing. It was just all us actors doing our thing in the prison there and raising a bunch of hell and throwing things around. But yeah, they're great guys. And I mean, the music I love it's like old school rock. That's mine, man.
I got you. Yeah, me too. I love Metallica and all that stuff, and AC/DC, and I just love all the greats that have come before that's paid for now. So I'm definitely with you there. I love origin stories, love a good origin story, and I'm going to start with yours. I know you've had an interesting childhood growing up in Canada, so I was curious, how would you say your childhood has helped cultivate your perspective as an artist and helped cultivate growth in the arts?
Well, man, I was a tall, skinny kid, glasses, braces, growing up in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, of all places, where nothing went on. And I was slightly dyslexic, So, I mean, I hated going to school, but I loved comic books and things like that, where I could see visuals and I could see, and tell my own story. So I became more of a visual storyteller instead of following the words. And, I would watch pro wrestling in the morning on Saturday and thought, I'm going to do that someday. And then I'd watch action films and the cartoons and everything after that. And, here we are. I ended up wrestling professionally for 11 and a half years and all over the world. And then now transitioned into the film, and now I'm making my own comics.
Which is incredible. And like I said, I can't wait to talk about that epic story helping craft with a legend in the industry, Christopher Priest. I mean, holy hell, dude, that's a big name, my friend. That is a really big name, especially when you look at all he's creative. And, I just love all the artists that I've spoken to that have worked with such incredible talents throughout the years. I mean, these are legends, and it's just really awesome to see how small the world can be, because I saw you post a picture a few days ago with Misty Lee, who was a phenomenal voice actor, and then Paul Dini, God, why am I always so bad at this last? Say it again, Paul Dini, who is a legend in the animation field. He's
he's the man,
How'd
you
you
know.
end up meeting all of those people? Did
Well,
you like do?
we've my wife is Renee Geerling. She used to be the editor-in-chief at Top Cow Comic Books, so I mean her first boss was Mark Silvestri, and we used to hang out with the Dinis, Mark Wade,
No way.
all of them. Yeah, we used to go to Christmas parties and stuff with all of them when we were back in LA, and that was cool. And then how I decided that I wanted to do a graphic novel. I was talking with David Hayter and Tom DeSanto that I worked with on
X-Men.
And they said, "Why don't you do a graphic novel?" And I was like, "Why don't I? I've got an editor right here in the house." So that's the path we took. Yeah.
Incredible. Well, just to go back to your acting real quick, I know you come from a pro wrestling background and stuff. So I'm interested, how did you fall into acting and how would you say you've grown as an actor throughout the years?
Well, I always wanted to do the acting. Like I say, when I was a little kid watching, watching the action films and stuff like that. And like I say, being slightly dyslexic, I would kind of just read the storyboards or look at the storyboards to figure out what I was doing. And I learned real quick on the very first, on the second thing I did the Smokey and the Bandit sequel, Bandit Goes Country. And I realized it behooves you to read the whole script to know what's going on in the story. So I had to learn how to read and all of that, but and figure it out, And since then, I've learned to read and fight through my dyslexia.
That's awesome. It's led to an amazing path, and now let's start to get into that path with the Halloween films, which are, of course, iconic. This franchise is celebrating 45 years. I saw the picture you took with all the Michael Myers, came to that huge con. I mean, what was it like to meet everyone, like all of the people, like John Carpenter was there, and just to see how massive this franchise is? Oh, I think I lost them.
Young Michaels, they've got older people that played the older, and just getting to meet them all was fantastic. It was unbelievable. Made a lot of.
What do you love about the energy that fall and Halloween brings?
Yeah, I mean, it's the changing of the fall. The leaves start to fall. The colors change. It's just it's just that season. It gets cooler. It's my kind of weather.
I agree. I love the fall so much, and I hate the summer with a burning passion. I hate the heat like a lot. So I love fall. I love being able to wear hoodies, like wear a light hoodie and light sweatshirt and all that. So I just love the fall season. But of course, starring as Michael Myers in the Halloween films, man. I'm curious what the Halloween franchise meant to you before working on the series, and what does the series mean to you now, having going to cons, being in these films themselves too?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize how big a fan base it has. It's just the fans make this franchise, and to be able to go to these conventions and meet them and share experiences with them is just fantastic. And after you go to a few of these conventions, you just realize how big Halloween is.
Absolutely. I was telling my friends this story. I remember when I saw the trailer for the Rob Zombie Halloween films.
Yeah.
And I remember being paranoid as a little kid. I was like 7, 8. I told my mom, hey, I don't want to go trick-or-treating. We have to stay in. This guy's coming to kill us. We cannot leave. And she was like, it's just a movie. And me being me, I'm like, no, this is not a movie. This is there for real. He is coming to get us. We cannot leave this house. And we, of course, went trick-or-treating.
Well, then we did our job right, didn't we?
I remember another funny story about me first discovering the Rob Zombie Halloween films. Is I was scrolling through some channels and I saw the movie in Spanish. For the first time I saw this movie was in Spanish, and I couldn't understand it. But I remember the scene where between you and Joe Grizzly, and I remember having to I was like, hey, I can't watch this. I have to go. I was so scared. I was like, you're terrifying in this role. And Oh my God, you brought such a great. You and Rob really crafted such a unique version of the Michael Myers character. And, I'm not just saying that to blow smoke or anything. I'm genuinely serious. Like, what you and Rob created is so interesting and a very unique take on the character. What I love so much about, of course, as a fan, we come to have our favorites and love our specific interpretation of the character. But what I do particularly love about the industry is that we get different interpretations of these characters throughout the many years that they, like I said, Halloween is celebrating 45 years. I mostly speak to voice actors, and voices for characters are changing all the time. Like one second you have Steve Bloom doing Wolverine, and then you'll have Cal Dodd doing him for the show. You know what I'm saying? Like, it always changes, and I just love that about the industry. Even though I do get a little heated when my favorite isn't back, but I do love seeing everyone's interpretation of the character, and I really love what you guys crafted with Michael Myers for these films. I'm curious, how would you describe what you and Rob are hoping to accomplish with Michael Myers for the two films that y'all created?
Well, I mean, like when Rob explained it to me, he said he wanted to tell the backstory of Michael Myers and show how he's a product of an environment and tell that whole story and make him more than a one-dimensional character. And I think that's what we did. We gave him, told his backstory, showed how he became a product of his environment, and then with the second one, it just started off horrible and just took a nosedive into the abyss. We were just killing everybody, tearing them up.
I remember the hospital scene, and you're just like killing the hell out of that nurse. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? What is going on?
Well, that's the thing. We wanted it to be intense, and I said to Rob on the second one, I said I want to kick it up a notch because I don't want to just do the same thing I did in the first one. And he agreed, and that's where you get the heavy grunting and all of that. Because I mean, if you are doing that, you're going to be physically exerting yourself, which I did, And Octavia Spencer was great to work with, and then she went on to win an Oscar. So technically, I think maybe one of the other Michaels, but I think I'm the only Michael Myers or serial killer to kill an Oscar winner. So
what an accomplishment.
But he had to do it.
I'm always curious, as someone who is a fellow actor as well, how the director plays into our vision for what we are doing with these characters. I love learning about the relationship between actor and director because, sometimes a lot of the times we have to put a lot of our trust into the director to be like, hey, you have to do it this way, even though we might disagree. And then we finally see it and we're like, oh, okay, that's why you want to, you know what I'm saying? I love that relationship. So I was curious, how did you and Rob's relationship help enhance your performance as Michael Myers?
Yeah. I mean, Rob and I would just get there in the morning and he'd be like, okay, how do you want to kill somebody today? So, and then we just work it out and figure it out and figure out the best way and the safest way to do it. And we came up with some amazing stuff, It was, Rob's an amazing director, because he is an entertainer and performer himself. So he realizes to give you your space and let you do your thing. And it was just fantastic working with him.
Do you keep in touch with Rob? Are y'all still close, or is it like that hot industry thing, or just this life thing in general where it's like, oh, we haven't seen each other in a while, we haven't really spoken, kind of thing?
That's the same with all the wrestlers and even a lot of the other actors and stuff like that. Is that when you see them, and it's like no time has passed. I was just saw Ken Foray, Big Joe Grizzly just last weekend, and it was like no time had passed. So yeah, it's everybody's doing their own thing, and when your paths cross, you enjoy the moment.
I got you, absolutely. I understand that Rob had a lot of difficulties with making the Halloween film. He's been very open and very vocal about that due to the people who were running it. I was curious, when you were making the movie, was there a lot of difficulties? Were people bothering you a lot? Like, what was your experience with the Halloween set?
Yeah, I mean, like, it was forever changing. Once you get the suits trying to stick their nose in and say, hey, okay, you know, do this or do that. They would come up with stuff that just didn't even make sense. You know, it's like, I think Michael Myers should kill someone in a tanning salon. Like, why the hell is Michael Myers going into a tanning salon? It doesn't make any sense, you know. And yeah, Rob, it's been very public. Rob has had some issues with the production company, and I'll just leave that at that, you know.
Absolutely, I understand. To go back to your performance as Michael, as a performer, what challenges come about when having to get into a character as insane as Michael Myers?
Yeah, I mean, you just got to do your research and figure out how you're going to approach the character. Like with the first one, when I was in the asylum, I had to breathe life through just my movement because, you know, there is no dialogue. So the transition from um, the asylum, where I was slouching and shuffling more, and then when I finally get the mask back and become Michael Myers and be the land shark that he is, it was just, you can see the transition and transformation to it, and that's what I just, you know, needed to portray and get across.
Absolutely. And like people are saying in the comment section, we all have a little crazy in it. So I guess this helps to channel that.
Yeah.
Get
So,
into I'm curious, just from a acting perspective, what was your favorite moment with the Michael Myers character in both movies?
wow, my favorite moment. Well, there was the scene where I'm trying to connect with Lori in the basement, and I show her the picture, and then it goes horribly awry, and then kind of sets off the whole thing. You know, that was for me the moment, that the defining moment where I'm trying to connect with her and it doesn't happen, and I'm still trying to convince her through all that we go through that it's family is forever.
That's incredible. You know, it's interesting to see the tone shift when talking about the Rob Zombie films. I know there was a lot of negativity when they first came out, but even while I was researching, I've just seen a lot of people be like, "Hey, maybe these movies aren't as bad as we thought they were." And I think that's so interesting as time passes on, because I know the first one came out like what, 2007,
Yeah,
2009. Yeah,
yeah.
2000. See, like
That
so much time has passed since these movies has come on, and I just love how when people let art sit with them, their perspective changes on how the art has
yeah,
changed them. I've heard so many people say that they love your performance as Michael Myers. I was talking to my friends yesterday, and they were like, "You're their favorite Michael Myers." I mean, just to talk about the conventions and stuff with the Halloween fans and stuff like that. What is it like to know that your art and what you've done means something? And in a sense, you're immortalized. You know, you're playing a very iconic character that will even go on after you have passed, and
yeah.
John Carpenter has done his own thing. Like, this character is going to last for as long as time allows it. I mean, I'm even hearing that some people want him to be in the new Mortal Kombat video game. I mean, there's a diehard fan base for this character.
There is.
So how does it feel?
You know, I just, Rob and I just wanted to make him as vicious as we could and portray him the way we thought he needed to be portrayed, and I brought the intensity that I felt it needed.
As time has gone on, what do you hope fans get from the films you and Rob created?
Just to enjoy the story and go on the thrill ride with us and enjoy it and get the scares, you know?
A ton of scares to be had. Like I said, I was watching some of the clips, and I was even still like, I'm talking to this guy tomorrow. I'm kind of scared. I was looking through the clips. And I was just like, dude, you guys really cranked it up a notch with these. But of course, Halloween is a massive franchise, but a franchise that has become a global phenomenon is, of course, the Marvel franchise. And you play the role of Sabertooth in the first X-Men film. We talked about a little bit in the beginning about your history with comic books and loving the visual art format with
Yeah.
that. So did you read X-Men growing up? Were you familiar with the characters and stuff like that before signing on?
Yeah, you know, a little bit. What I mainly would do is watch the cartoons, you know, on Saturday mornings, the X-Men Saturday morning,
Yeah.
you know? And I was a big cartoon fanatic, and then I'd get the books and I'd look through them, and you know, so I mean, I was familiar a little bit with Sabertooth, but I did a deep dive and I went and got every comic book I could find that had Sabertooth in it.
Awesome. Do you remember the audition process for Sabertooth?
Yeah, I was. They were talking to me about doing the stunts, and I'm not really a stunt man. I was a wrestler, a professional wrestler, But then I was like, okay, well. And then the stunt coordinator showed Brian Singer my picture because I had the long blonde hair at the time, and he's like, I want to see that guy for Sabertooth. So then I was going in there. I went and got the fake teeth and everything, and for the audition, and went in to talk to Brian, and there was this little kid sitting on the side of the couch typing, and I said, hey, I'm here to see Mr. Singer. And he puts his hand up, he goes, just a minute, and he keeps typing. I'm like, who is this guy? And he looks up, he goes, I'm Brian Singer, and you're Sabertooth. And he jumped up on his coffee table, and he said, choke me. So I choked him, and it's history after that, So never judge a book by its cover, because that little kid sitting on the end of the couch was Brian Singer, the director of the X-Men.
Wow. What was your favorite moment as Sabertooth and getting to work with Hugh Jackman?
Yeah, Hugh was theater back then. He hadn't done much film or anything like that. The X-Men was his very first role, and he came in to replace the guy that got hurt. So X-Men is what kind of started his whole career off. So yeah, but I mean, it's just doing all those scenes, like the snow scenes and the the fight on the Statue of Liberty scene, and all of that was just fantastic. Yeah.
X-Men is such an iconic franchise that I've come to love over the years. And, I really like what you did with Sabertooth, man. And it really sucked that you didn't continue later on. Do you know why you didn't come back for the later films?
Well, I was supposed to be in the second one, but and there was a contract for it, but they only got written out. But everything happens for a reason. It's all good. I've moved on. I've got my own production company now. I'm doing my own thing, and we got this graphic novel coming out, and I'm just so excited about it. So let me tell you about this graphic novel quickly before I got to jump off here. Imagine Sons of Anarchy meets The Punisher with human trafficking storyline. Okay? So I've been teaming up with human trafficking awareness organizations, deliverfund.org and Trafficking in America Task Force.org, to help raise awareness about human trafficking. And the story is of Frank Kane, a lone survivor of a massacred motorcycle club. And he's trying to turn a new leaf and start a new life. And he's drawn back into the business of trying to rescue a child from the Atlanta underworld of human trafficking. And through that, he meets up with Amanda Harper, who is an undercover decoy, and they're having to team up to save all the people from the human trafficking organization ring. So it's kind of like my way of giving back, and we've put together such a great team. Like you say, Christopher Priest has written this, and like when we were working out the story, we would say, okay, let's try this, and Christopher goes, that doesn't happen, and we'd find articles of human trafficking that were just like that, and he was horrified, and he goes, yeah, we've got to do something about this. So the story is very, very important for people to read it, enjoy it, but also come away and go, hey, I got to be more aware of what's going on around me. So yeah, and we have interior artists Will Conrad, Jimbo Salgado, Michael Montanat, Ken Lashley's doing a cover, but the main cover is by Mark Silvestri. Wow. So it is a top tier, top level book that everybody please check out. The Kickstarter is launching October 17th, and follow me on the Instagram here, The Real Tyler Main, and let's go along for a ride.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much for joining me, guys. Please check out his Kickstarter. Tyler, I hope to have you back on again when the book launches and we can just talk about it some more. I would love to. I'm very excited to see where you take this, and I'm glad that you're telling this story that really does need to be told. Can't wait to promote it as well on here. And you just have a great rest of your day, my friend. Thank you so much for joining me.
I've got to go run over to Spookala here in Tampa right now. So it is the season. I'll
Yes.
see you.
Say, have a great one. Thank you.
Take care, brother.
You too.